So I've been running for around 11 years now, and I must say running is tough. Running is hard for all of us, but there's something so beautiful about the fact that the harder you run and the harder you work for it, the better that post-run feeling is. I'm sure you might have heard of runner's high or experienced it yourself, and that truly is a thing. When you work hard, go through those hard runs, those endorphins that come afterwards, you just let them flow. It just feels so good. Today, I'm gonna share with you 10 of my most helpful tips on how to get you into running and enjoy it. Okay, so tip number 1 is to start small and set mini goals. Okay, it's always good to have a vision of where you want to get to, but you need to set mini goals to tick off along the way. And when you hit those mini goals, you need to celebrate them, because in life, there's no guarantees. And what I mean by starting small is that you might look to run for 2 minutes, walk for 1 minute, and then the next time run for 3 minutes, walk for 1 minute, and then run for 4 minutes, walk for 1 minute. You get the point. Basically, the main thing is to always try and progress. Once you progress, you're moving forward week in, week out, you're celebrating the small wins. And at the end of the day, or at the end of the journey, when you add up all those small wins, they significantly stack up. With social media these days, we're often able to see what others are doing out there, and that can be motivating, but it can also sometimes be demotivating. You can look at what others are doing and think, actually, I'm not quite there yet, or if I tried that, I'm not able to do it. What you want to try and avoid is comparing yourself. Try not compare yourself to others. I know it's easier said than done, but have a look at what others are doing and learn from them and use what works best for you, because ultimately in this running game, you want to be the best possible you that you can be. So let others help you, but be the best possible you. And what we want to do is we want to set goals. It's good to be goal driven. It's good to have a focus. It's good to work towards something, but don't let that dictate your happiness for the sport. You've got to embrace the journey, embrace the process. That's what truly counts. So goals motivate us, but we want to enjoy the journey in order to get there. Another great way to make runs feel easier and enjoy them even more is by getting lost into your own world. And I find that by putting on my favorite playlist, I'm able to do that. So thanks to this perfect sponsor of this video, Shokz headphones. Here are the OpenRun Pro 2s. They are an absolute game changer. Remember, running with bone conduction headphones where you can hear a bit of background noise is by far the safest way to run whilst listening to music. Shokz headphones really do redefine the sound of sport. These bone conduction headphones provide situational awareness, so you can hear background noises, things like cars, bike, or anything else coming towards you. In these headphones, the latest technology uses 2 independent drivers along with even higher quality sound ranges than ever before. As you can see, they have an all-day comfort and secure fit, almost no vibrations and even less clamping force than ever before, with an additional 2 speakers added in. It's water resistant, so you don't need to worry about sweat, rain, or splashes, even in this beautiful British summer that we've been having. The wind resistant mic keeps the sound crystal clear even in those super windy conditions. One full charge gives you a whopping 12 hours of music playback, and even just a 5-minute charge gives you 2 hours of playback. I do almost all my runs in these Open Pro 2 headphones, so thank you so much, Shokz, and keep up the good work. Okay, on to tip number 2, you need to embrace the social side to running. Okay, so running can be a lonely solo sport sometimes, but these days running is trending more than ever. There are so many runners out there, and you need to take advantage of that. Try and link up with others where possible. If you're able to go to things like running shows or pre-race expos, go along to those. You might get some valuable tips. You might walk away with some new merchandise that'll keep you motivated. But ultimately, if you're able to link up with other like-minded people, you're much more likely to be consistent with your training. So embrace the social side rather than trying to do it all by yourself. Okay, on to tip number 3, join a running club or a community. So if you're lucky enough to have a running club near you that fulfills your needs, then go along to that. Chances are you'll probably meet like-minded people of similar ability. From there, you'll gain training partners and able to be nice and consistent with your training, holding each other accountable. But if you're unable to join a local running club, if you don't have one, if they don't quite cater for your needs or your abilities, then the beautiful thing about this day and age is that we all connected and you can join clubs online. Things like Best Athletics, for example, you know, it's a community and often there's people doing sessions in remote locations, but the fact that, you know, they're part of the team, they feel like you're never quite alone. So even when I'm doing a lot of my sessions suffering alone, I know that there's others in the team suffering with me, and that just makes it a whole lot easier. So it's always easier to lean on those communities, join those running clubs in order to promote that healthy competition and bring out the best in you. Okay, on to tip number 4, try and incorporate parkrun into your training. If you're living in a location that has Parkrun, amazing. Definitely build it into your weekly routine. When I look at my city and Winchester on a Saturday morning, hundreds and hundreds of people flock down to Parkrun, and it's just such a good vibe. And that's generally the vibes across the parkruns throughout the country and throughout the world where they have them. It doesn't matter if you in first place or near the back. It's all about participation and, you know, giving it your best if you want to. The vibes are generally so good. You never feel like you're too fast or too slow for parkruns. So try and build it into your routine. It's the best way to start at a Saturday morning. Once it's built into your routine, you're able to be consistent with it week in and week out. I promise you, Parkrun, best way to start the Saturday. Tip number 5, find a training partner or training partners. Okay, what training partners do is they do a beautiful thing called accountability. You hold each other accountable. You're much more likely to get out there and go for your run if you know someone's meeting you at a certain time at a certain point, and vice versa. They might not feel like getting out for their run, but they know, actually, I'm meeting my training partner, I can't let them down. If I think back to my early years of running, in my comrades years, I used to have a training partner that would ring my doorbell at 4:30 in the morning, and I promise you, I probably wouldn't have done 60 to 70% of the runs at that time if it wasn't for him. So find that training partner that'll be consistent and hold each other accountable. Point number 6, treat yourself to some new merchandise occasionally. Okay, as we know, nothing is more motivational than new kit day or new shoes day. Now, you don't need to go all out and buy new kits all the time, but we almost like, if a dog does something really good, it gets rewarded. And you know, us as humans, if we do something really good, we want to get rewarded for it. So what I like to do is make little promises to myself. If I hit certain milestones, then I'm going to get something small. It might be a pair of funky socks or whatever the case is. But as we know, as soon as you get that new piece of running kit, you can't wait to get out there and try it. So if it means you have to sacrifice little bits in other areas of your life in order to treat yourself and reward yourself with new little bits of merchandise drops along the way, then definitely do that. Okay, on to tip number 7, put those running clothes out the night before when you know you have a morning run the next day. Often our mindset in the morning when we wake up is, I'll just snooze, I'm tired, and then next thing, the morning's gone and you think, I'll go later, and the next thing the day's gone and you weren't able to get out. No, if you've committed to the morning run, put your stuff out from the night before. It's a way of holding yourself accountable. And I promise you, if you know it's out there, you're much more likely to just get up and go. Okay, point number 8, and very important, track your runs and get active on Strava. By tracking your runs, you're able to monitor your progress. You might look at your run and say, okay, cool, I did this route last week, and this week I did the same route and I was a few seconds faster. Next week, let me try and get a few seconds faster. And it's just a great way of monitoring your progress. Strava does that automatically. Once you upload things, it's on there, and it's a way of just tracking your progression. And it's so satisfying moving forward, and it almost can become an addiction that you want to just keep progressing forward. So track your runs, you know how it goes. If it's not on Strava, it doesn't count, and keep trying to move forward. I always try and give my absolute best running tips on Strava, so feel free to follow along. And if you do, give me your best. Boom, shakalaka. On to tip number 9, follow a plan or get yourself a running coach. If you're following a plan, it means you're not just winging it on the day. You're not just waking up and thinking, what should I do? You're going into the week, the month, the build up to your race with a plan. It's a very good way to be productive with your training. You know what you're in for, and you probably will not slack if you know what lays ahead of you. If you're able to get a running coach, I'm a running coach myself. It's my full-time job, and I know by working with, you know, numerous athletes just how beneficial it can be. Apart from setting solid, productive training plans towards your goals, it can really be a great way of someone overlooking your training, overlooking your running, and just, you know, someone's there holding you accountable. Point number 10, last but not least, do not overthink it. Okay, it's that simple. If you have a run planned, just get out there. The hardest part often is just getting out. Often, if I know I'm doing a morning run and potentially an evening run as well, I'll sit around, start feeling sorry for myself, reminiscing, thinking the weather's not that great, and almost speaking myself out of it. What I've realized over the years is just don't think about it. Just get out there, give yourself a chance, and once you're out there, it's so much easier. Often something that helps when I don't feel like it is just knowing that post-race feeling, that thinking about that endorphin release afterwards, it just makes you feel so good. And then I'm like, I can't wait to get out there and just get the session done. So remember this, no one ever regrets going out for their run, but often we regret not going out for our run. And then finally, just a reminder that in order to improve, the number 1 rule is to be consistent with your running. But I hope today's videos with the 10 tips, it's really helped you to get into running and enjoy it as most as possible. Remember, it's not easy, and if it was easy, everyone would do it. So if you're able to get out there for your runs, give yourself some kudos. It's a huge achievement. And if in doubt, you always can. Let's go get it.